You walk into the Apple store. Your old phone still works. The battery's a little slower than it used to be, and there's a tiny crack in the corner of the screen, but nothing serious. Still, you convince yourself you need an upgrade. It's for work, right? It's a productivity tool. So you spend $1,200 on the new iPhone Pro Max Titanium and walk out feeling accomplished, successful, ahead of the curve. Then you sit in your car and really look at it. It's sleek, futuristic, perfect, and suddenly your old frayed charging cable looks embarrassing next to it. It feels almost wrong to plug this masterpiece of engineering into a $5 gas station cable. So you buy the MagSafe charger. That's another $40. You get home and place the phone on your nightstand. But now your cheap plastic phone case looks ridiculous on a titanium device like this. It doesn't match. You need the leather case. That's $60. Then you realize your old wired headphones don't even work with the phone. To really get the full experience, you need AirPods Pro. That's $250. Within 48 hours, your $1,200 purchase has quietly turned into a $1,600 purchase, and you never consciously decided to spend that extra money. You didn't lose control, you followed a script. This isn't just you being bad with money. This is a psychological chain reaction that has destroyed more fortunes than the stock market ever could. It explains why lottery winners often go bankrupt and why buying a dream house can turn into a financial nightmare. It's called the Diderot Effect. Most people think they buy things because they need them. The truth is, you buy things because your other things start demanding upgrades. To understand why this happens, we have to go back to France in the year 1765. Denis Diderot was a famous philosopher, the co-founder of the Encyclopedia, and one of the brightest minds of his time. But despite his fame, he was poor. He lived modestly. He wore old clothes, walked on worn rugs, and worked at a scratched wooden desk in a dusty room. And he was happy, content even. Then everything changed. Catherine the Great, Empress of Russia, heard about his financial struggles. She admired his work, so she offered to buy his personal library for a massive sum of money, roughly the equivalent of $50,000 today, while allowing him to keep the books. Overnight, Diderot became rich. So what did he do? He treated himself. He bought a beautiful, expensive scarlet dressing gown, a luxury robe fit for royalty. He put it on and looked in the mirror. He felt elegant, refined, wealthy. But when he sat down at his desk to write, something bothered him. The robe was magnificent, but the desk was scratched, stained, and rotting. The contrast felt wrong. So he replaced the desk with a fine mahogany writing table. Now the robe and the desk matched. Until he looked at the floor. His old rug suddenly looked like a rag. It didn't belong. So he replaced it with a plush Damascus rug. Then the new rug made the curtains look cheap, so he replaced those too. The curtains made the chair look like firewood, so he bought a leather armchair. Then came new paintings, new sculptures, new mirrors. One by one, he replaced everything he owned so it would match the elegance of the robe. And when it was over, Denis Diderot was broke again. Later, he wrote an essay titled Regrets on Parting with My Old Dressing Gown, where he confessed, "I was the absolute master of my old dressing gown. I have become a slave to my new one." That is the Diderot effect. The introduction of a new possession into your life triggers a spiral of consumption. We think we own our things, but in reality, our things own us. And this effect is even more dangerous today than it was in the 18th century because modern marketing is designed to exploit it with precision. Think about fitness. You decide to get in shape and buy a Peloton bike. It's an investment in your health. But when it arrives, you realize you can't ride it in your old cotton t-shirt and gym shorts from high school. You don't look like a cyclist. You don't feel like one. So you buy cycling shoes, then compression shorts, then the branded tank top. Then you realize the bike looks out of place in your cluttered living room, so you create a Zen workout space with mats, dumbbells, and maybe even a new TV. You didn't just buy a bike, you bought an identity. This is the core psychology behind the Diderot effect.
identity consistency. Humans crave coherence between who they think they are and what surrounds them. When you buy a high-status item, you upgrade your identity. And once that happens, everything else in your life that doesn't match that new identity creates psychological tension. If you stretch your budget to buy a Porsche, you're no longer a Honda Civic person. Porsche people don't wear scratched sunglasses. They don't sit on cheap furniture. They don't eat off paper plates. The car becomes the anchor item that sets a new baseline for your entire life, and everything below that baseline suddenly feels unacceptable. This is why fake it till you make it is financially toxic. If you buy the Rolex before you can afford it, that Rolex will demand a suit, a car, and a lifestyle that will drain you dry. The mistake most people make is calculating costs in isolation. They ask, can I afford this $500 item? The correct question is, can I afford the chain reaction this item will trigger? A kitchen renovation is a perfect example. You budget $10,000 for new cabinets. Once they're installed, your old fridge looks disgusting, even though it works perfectly, so you replace it. Then the floor looks outdated. Then the living room looks bad compared to the kitchen. What started as a $10,000 upgrade turns into a $35,000 overhaul. The cabinets were the scarlet robe. They created dissatisfaction where none existed before. And here's the most uncomfortable truth. Many upgrades are actually downgrades in disguise. When Diderot had his old robe, he lived freely. He wiped ink stains on it. He used it. When he bought the new one, he became afraid of ruining it. It controlled him. Buy a pristine white couch, and suddenly no one is allowed to drink red wine. The dog can't jump up. You stop living in your own living room. You become the curator of a museum instead of a resident of a home. So how do you stop this? First, predict the chain reaction. Before buying any upgrade, ask yourself what else it will demand. Calculate the full system cost, not the sticker price. Second, use the buy one, give one rule. If something new comes in, something old must leave. This caps accumulation and keeps you a user, not a collector. Third, practice strategic downgrading. Keep your visible status symbols humble. A low-maintenance identity gives you freedom, and freedom is profitable. There's nothing wrong with nice things, but you need to understand the game. Consumerism promises happiness through one more purchase, but history already taught us the truth. That one purchase doesn't complete the puzzle, it scrambles it. Don't be a slave to the robe, be the master of your life.